Hi. Okay, so welcome. Sorry, I have I, another virtual background on my own Zoom, so I was like, expecting something to be behind me. So this is a picture that was just on my desktop from when I 3D printed the GeoGebra logo because I do things like that. uh, and also, so I guess I will start with telling you a little bit. I know that Kasha told you about me. One thing she didn't mention is that I don't know if she remembers. I had her as a professor at FAU during my graduate. So that was, cool to kind of work with her again years later. And, just kind of reconnect. And we've been, for the past 3 years working together on this, and it's been really awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Samantha. I remember you.
Yeah.
Long time
It
ago.
was a long
Thank you.
time ago, and so that's pretty cool. Another thing, so I am a former math teacher. I taught math for about 8 years, and I have been teaching computer science for the last 2 years. And GeoGebra has come a very long way. I've still done a little bit of work with it, but all the new features, um, I have limited experience using GeoGebra, the new, I guess, GeoGebra in the classroom with. So I used it back when they didn't have GeoGebra Classroom. They had workbooks and they had applets, which I love and I used all the time. Um, but the new features, which are amazing and make it so much easier to use in the classroom, I haven't used those as much. Um, but I have, you know, explored them and I know that they're just really awesome tools. So I'm going to move on to my topic now. um, I am lucky to work in a very tech savvy school. And we do a lot of training in technology. And so I don't think I have, all those fears that a lot of people have when they are using technology. I don't like using PowerPoints. So that's why I use this, which is kind of just like a compilation of a lot of the stuff I'm going to show you guys. It's a hyperdoc, so I'm not going to pretend that I have come up with this myself. Hyperdocs.co has a bunch of different types of hyperdocs. I love them because they, especially in a virtual setting that a lot of us are teaching in this year, it makes it so much easier for students when they can just find everything all in one place. So I use a lot of stuff like this in my classroom frequently. Did I open? Oh no, I didn't. So these are, some of the reasons. I'm not sure what your guys' reasons are why a lot of teachers don't like to use technologies in the classroom. Some of them don't want to use new tech because they don't know or understand it. Um, they don't know how to use them. Lack of training. Oh, accessing the agenda. Let me put this link here. Sorry. So I'm putting this link in the chat, but you can always use this bit.ly, bit.ly/DGB 2021 tech. That's also a very useful tool to shorten URLs, make them easier to access, bit.ly. So we can kind of go through here. One of the big things is teachers aren't trained. And that's something that we can't help. It's kind of something that if a teacher explores on their own, then they, can learn from it. But unless you have training on a district level or training from, your school, it's hard to really get teachers to feel comfortable. And then lesson plans. I'm not going to go through all of these, not having appropriate lessons to go along with activities. So I'm going to go over one style of using technology within a lesson plan that might help with that issue. There's more, but I'm not going to go through each one, like I said. So here is from when I used to teach math. So this was a while ago. I have adapted the activity that I did here to be fitting for the new GeoGebra, as well as to be fitting for a virtual setting. So whether you're virtual or in person, hopefully this is a method that you can use in your classroom. and helping with that problem of not having lessons that are appropriate to use with technology. So I'm not going to play the whole video, but just to get an idea.
Here you're going to see a picture of a circle.
Make sure
There's a radius and a center. On this, we're not looking for anything specific. Nothing's going to pop up on the screen. All I want you to do is get 4 different examples. So 4 examples with a different center and a different radius. To change the center, yes. To change the center, you just move the blue point to wherever you want. And to change the radius over here on the right, that's to change the size of the radius to bigger or smaller. Okay, you can pick whatever you want, take a screenshot. Nope, whatever you want, just make sure all 4 of them are different.
How do I write the name of the applet?
It's the first announced in Canvas. It says 2.5 applet.
Can you access it through the app?
Yeah, video announcements.
How many screenshots did you say?
4 total. Okay, and then you can move it around. Just make sure you have 4 different examples.
I don't have captions.
Underneath, there's a spot for the center. So you're going to put the coordinates of the center into the table. So for this one, it's 4, 4. The radius, it tells you the radius right here, and it also says it over here. You guys can see them here. For me, it's 7. And then the equation of the circle is written right here. You can see right here.
Only 4?
Yeah. And then you put the equation right here.
I'm not sure what captions you're talking about. I'm sorry.
The center is the point in the middle. So, no, the radius is the distance from the center to the side.
So I'm not going to go through this whole thing, and you guys can feel free to watch the whole thing later. It kind of goes through this whole type of lesson plan. And I'm going to kind of show you what the student results are. Now, this isn't something that has to be digital. I had students, they have one-to-one iPads. If you don't have that, you can easily print these and have them do it on paper. And you can also, they can use their phones or something else to figure out how to to load the applets and then draw or write on paper. It doesn't need to be something that they have to have iPads for. But you can see here, this is one student example. They would put 4 different examples, and then they would put a point and the radius. And then here they would have to write about patterns. This, you can kind of see in the video later. I had them do it on sticky notes and post them to the front of the classroom. I guess I can skip to that part of the video once they got to that step. So you can kind of see here that there's all these sticky notes on the front for when they do the observations step of this. And then they write on here what they observed. And then I typically have them revise their observation. And then they write a rule that they think they can use to, that basically explains the patterns they noticed. And then they put that on sticky notes as too, so that they might revise that rule after they see what other students wrote. And this one, at the end of this lesson, everyone knew what the equation of a circle was. And then they solved problems related to it. This was part of a big project that they did, so it's one part of it, and they were adding it to their project. So you can kind of see here, they had to add 3 different circles, and then they put it onto their projects right here. And then they reflect on it. So now that we have more tools than we did 2 years ago, because like I said, that was 2 years ago, based on your comfort level, you could do more digitally than we could do then, or you could do, less. It's really scalable. Decide what you're comfortable with. And I would say also don't be scared of not knowing, because typically, if you're upfront about it, like, hey, I've never used this before, but we're going to figure it out together. Students are usually pretty accepting of that, and it might actually make them feel more comfortable because they don't feel intimidated. If you're being open about the fact that you don't know either, then they think, okay, well, maybe I can understand this. Especially if they are already comfortable with technology. So now that there's GeoGebra Classroom, It's really easy, as we saw, to create an activity using this. So rather than having to do this, have a document that links there, I can actually now do it all in GeoGebra if I want. I have templates for each of these things. So if you wanted to try it, you would be able to do that. This is just the circles activity. This is the entire document that I had incorporated into a GeoGebra activity. So it has the part 1 explore here, and then they can change the radius. And it shows the equation, and they can move them around. So they could do the same thing. And if you create a GeoGebra classroom, then they don't even need to take a screenshot or anything like that. You can just see in GeoGebra Classroom what they did. And then they can answer the questions down here. All the examples. And then another really useful tool, if you are still virtual completely, I know some schools are. Sorry about that. There is these patterns and observations. You can use Jamboard or Padlet and things like that to actually create an editable board that you can use to write on. So I can say my observations were that the center matched the equation or something like that. And then students can actually go to this Jamboard and add as many sticky notes as you want. So it's a way that all the students can collaborate at the same time and add information. One thing, it's jamboard.google.com. If anyone wants to ever use that, it's very helpful.
Samantha, maybe you can type it, or you type it in the chat. Yes.
If
Thank you.
if you want to go to this direct link and edit this one, I will put that in there as well. So now if you go to this link, people can add observations to the same Jamboard I'm currently working on. You just click on the sticky note and then type whatever observations you have about the circle. One thing important about these, you'll notice that you can all edit it. If you don't set it that you can edit it, then you have to go to share and change the settings so that way anyone can edit. You can also, this is my school, make it so that only your organization can edit it, and then you can see they have to log in order to do it, and you can see who's making changes if you're worried about the students doing something inappropriate. So I linked that directly in here. And then once they do that, they'll also write, what are my new observations after I saw what other students wrote? Okay. Then we have a rule. So after that, the next step is to come up with a rule to explain the patterns. So they could do that in here. And then the test and check section. So here they can test out. You can put, this example, I had them choose a center and a radius, and then once they do that, so if I say the center is going to be 2, 1, and the radius is going to be 6, oh, I mean, I don't know why I put that in parentheses. You can move this around, right? To, all right, let's put my center at 2, 1, and then add 6. And then they can check to see if they got it right. Was it the equation they thought it would be? You can add more of those, as many as you want, in a GeoGebra classroom. I'm going to show now if you want to add activities. So suppose I wanted to add another activity. Now that I teach computer science, I did use GeoGebra actually the other day to create this activity. Suppose I want to put this in place of the current circle activities or add it to this worksheet. I wouldn't want to add it in this case, but I'm just trying to give an example so you can see how it would work. I'm going to copy this so I don't modify what I already have. It's very easy to copy an activity. Right. It brings me here so that I can actually edit it. And I don't want this to be my first one. So I'm going to click this pencil and replace this applet. Here we have an option to search for applets. The easiest way to search would be to take this at the end of every single GeoGebra activity. There's the MDYYHJEF. Thanks. Wait till you see what it does, because I love writing GeoGebra programs, so I always go a little bit further than I need to. So I'm glad you like it. And then once you type that in or copy and paste it, it will bring up only that activity. And then I press add. So I just changed it. And then now I'm gonna click done and save. So when you guys have my link, which you should all, if you have this document, then you can make a copy of it and modify it as you need to. Wait, where did it go? So I'm gonna go back here because I don't know where that one I just modified went. Oh, here, copy it. That was weird. Okay, so now they can change it. And the reason I'm showing this is because I saw somebody ask a question about checking results. I programmed this so it automatically checks to see if they did it correctly. So this one is a ball.
Sorry, Samantha, if you can just tell us, did you created this program in GeoGebra or outside GeoGebra?
So I downloaded, no, this is a GeoGebra applet. So I used it, I usually create on the downloaded GeoGebra and then I upload it. That's the easiest.
But the grading, automatic grading for checking this is correct. You did it in GeoGebra?
Yeah. Okay. You'll see. I'm going to show you right now how it works.
Wonderful.
So collision with gold pot and then, oh wait, oh no. This goes here. I was doing, see, I can't even do my own activity, right? Okay. Here is, oh, okay, so everything's in the right place. So this little correct things pops up. So this isn't something that would be exported anywhere, although it is possible to do that, but that's beyond what I want to do. Because you could create a spreadsheet in GeoGebra as well, but it just basically is a way for a student to self-check, and I'm going to be using this applet next week. So you can still use GeoGebra for computer science. And anyway, so here, you guys already know how to create a classroom activity because Tim did a lovely job, but GeoGebra has amazing resources for figuring out how to do this. If you use their YouTube channel, there's so many tutorials. Most of them are done by Tim, I think, but it basically goes over all these things on how to create your own GeoGebra classroom. Okay, so here, how are we doing on time?
We are going perfect. It's 20 minutes past 11. You still have 20 minutes, Samantha.
Okay, awesome. All right. So here, creating a classroom activity. So you guys are free to watch that video. I can demonstrate here. So now I want to create a class. For this one. Okay. And then here, copy of create. And then now we have a GeoGebra classroom. So I can link this here too, if anyone wants to join. And then I'll be able to see everybody's progress in real time on each of these activities and each of the tasks. I don't know if anyone joined or not. Okay, so I see a few people. Right, and then you can see what the students are doing. And then rather than having a document where everything's separate, it's really nice to see the progress everyone's making. Yeah, the students don't see it as
I
a
have a question, Samantha. So what level of the class you are using this for? What level? What grade?
So when I did this, it was 9th and 10th mostly. It was high school geometry.
Okay.
It could be adapted for younger levels. I think it also requires you to kind of train the students, is another thing to keep in mind. The first time, it won't be as smooth as it is later on. This video was not the first time I did it. And by training, that doesn't mean it's hard. It just means, well, actually, you probably heard me answer the same question 2 or 3 times in the beginning of that video. Kids don't listen. So you have to be ready for kids to ask questions. They're going to ask the question you just answered and ask it again in 10 minutes. It's just something that happens, especially for younger grades. Once you have this, and I used to use this system continuously all the time. So once I had used it a couple times, I didn't get those same questions over and over again. I got the questions about, did you say we had to find this? And that's the question that it becomes later. So let's see here. And definitely for that self-checking, it's not necessarily going to go to a point system, but it's easy to see here. So you can kind of, in a spreadsheet or something, keep track of who got each one correct. All right, so here is basically how you can create your own. There's this, which is available through GeoGebra, so you don't have to create your own applets. You can find ones that are already available, which is the nice thing if you don't know how to create them, because not everyone does. And GeoGebra is awesome in that you don't need to know how to create them. You can just find something that's already there. These are a bunch of templates that are available. So you can just click this, create a class with it, and then put it into your class, however you want to do that. I think Tim showed these, so I don't want to focus too much on those. But another option that you have is you can just search GeoGebra. So suppose I want something on triangle similarity. I can just search that here. I have a lot of activities with similarity that I used to use. You could pick which ones you like and then click on them, make a copy of them if you don't like them 100% and modify them. The self-check flowchart is a bit more advanced, but I'm happy to go through that at the end if you want to. I used a bunch of Boolean values in GeoGebra to see if it was true or false, and then made the condition to show the objects based on those Booleans. I can go over that if we have time at the end, or you can talk to me personally if you feel like you know enough about GeoGebra. I have my contact information, so I'm happy to go over that. But I don't want to do it for people that are going to be totally lost. That's true. If you ever need something, Tim probably made it. Yeah, so here's similar triangle. So if you wanted to use this, I don't know if anyone would want to. It actually looks pretty useful. You know, it shows how they have different ratios. It resets. I wonder if you can move the sides or not. Either way, oh, see, yeah, you can move them. If I want to use this, I can make a copy or just create a class, even though it's not mine, and then add to it. Or if I just want to add this particular applet to a worksheet like I had before, I can, again, just take this and then go to modify that.
Samantha, there is a question in the, I don't know if you can do it, is question about flowchart. Do you think you can you can explain that in a short explanation to show how you create it, or it's rather longer? Longer.
I can show, hold on, let me download that activity.
So this activity could be modified. So this is your activity you created, yes? Mm-hmm. So everybody can modify that, yes? You can change the questions, and here you use the Boolean
Okay.
But if it is too long, that you're just
No, it's fine.
okay.
So
So you do it outside the yes, you do it in the you downloaded this activity. Yes. Okay,
I
wonderful.
download it because I find it is much easier to work with, in my opinion, if I'm making things, especially if they're a bit more technical. The correct feature is pretty technical. So I have these Booleans here. These are all the distance between this point and each one of these points. Okay. Then these Booleans tell me if any of the distances are 0, which means it's inside the dot because they have no distance. And then to see if I just use lost in one. So if they're all full, but they didn't win, that means that it's wrong. And if they had all of the right ones with the correct distance, then they won.
Oh, that would be so cool if GeoGebra have automatic template to do that. Yes, because here you have to do it, but absolutely to reuse, it's a wonderful idea. Okay, so if the answer is correct, then it's the distance is 0. Yes.
Yep. And then here the condition to show the win is, or correct, is if they won, and condition to show not correct is if they lost.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
So and that's in the, yeah, this is the reason why I like this, is because first of all, it's a separate window for this what's it called? The
Properties.
yeah, properties. So that way I can modify here and not have to do it in the same window. It just makes it easier for me. And if anyone feels like they know what's going on here, I'm happy to go, if you message me after the session, go into more detail and help you create those. I just know that that's not something that, I know some people are there, I know some people aren't there, so I don't want to scare anyone away. So here, now suppose I want to add this activity. This is somebody else's, I never created this, and I want to add this to what I was creating before. So let me go back to GeoGebra and find the copy that I made. Here's the copy.
Wanda, there's a question for you. Do you have a YouTube channel already?
I do, but it's not very GeoGebra centric.
Like
My old one, I think I have a lot of, I have some math activities. The newer one is more focused on Python.
Okay, thank you.
So here I'm modifying this. Let's replace it. Search for that one I just found, and now I'm adding it to my worksheet. Okay. So if you use the template that I put on here, you can easily change each one of these. You can change the questions. You can add more GeoGebra activities, whatever you want to do. Or you can, like I said, if you don't like doing everything digitally, you could do it on paper. So that's an option always for everybody. Now we're on here where so we search for activities. We can see how we can add them. You can create a classroom using your link and then track their work. Awesome method of formative assessment. And then here I have both. If you like to do things on paper, here's a template. Some of you, if you were here 2 years ago, already have this. So this is a template that you could use if you wanted to do a paper version of this. And you can have them open the applet, so you can either create a bit.ly link or put a link into Canvas, some way to send the information to the students. Or if you have one-to-one iPads, you can put the link directly on there and then have them do it. My students would use Notability on an iPad, but you could use Google Documents. You could use whatever you're used to, I guess, or modify everything and then print it. So this is the same template that I had before. I think I slightly modified it this year. All the yellow things would be things that you would change for your activity. Okay. And then there, I see Libo, thank you, posted a short tutorial on how to embed this into an LMS. Okay. And then here I created the digital version of this. So you could, if you wanted to use these, just make a copy of this 3 dots, copy activity, and then modify as much as you need. On this one, I just used the circle activity, but we saw how you can change it. And if it says edit this text, that means that you should change that because it's instructions for teachers. And I also put a couple notes on what you could do. Jamboard or Padlet is also very good for using virtual sticky notes, or you could just do sticky notes in the classroom if you are lucky enough to be back in person. And then test and check problems. I don't have any here, but you can add to the end very easily. Whatever, you can either add a GeoGebra applet, or you can have them do a problem on paper to test and check. However that works for you. Lots of resources on GeoGebra that we saw, and different materials. When to use LM or class. I'm looking through questions.
Amanda, you don't need to answer question in the chat. There's a Q&A. Do you see
Okay.
Q&A in the bottom? The questions, please post if you have specific questions for panelists to answer. You have Q&A in the bottom of the page, and the panelists can check them out during the speech or after the speech, just answer.
Mhm.
You still have, Samantha, you still have like a little bit above more than 10 minutes, 8 minutes. I'm sorry, you have 8 minutes if you can use it.
Yeah,
It
so
would be wonderful.
what I typically would do at this point is, here I have these resources for you. So I would encourage you now to kind of go do this searching for your own applet or something that you would want to create and modify this here. I think I will. I don't have much more to share other than I think that you guys should try to do this. I put, here is my contact information if anyone wants to contact me. Here is my Twitter, which is my social media that I use. I know that Kasha was saying earlier that some of us are Facebook people and some of us are Twitter people. If you have my Facebook, you probably know that I'm a Twitter person because I don't ever post anything on there. But Twitter, I'm very active. And then my GeoGebra page, which is not as active as it used to be, but it does actually have a lot of resources. I'm not Tim, but I have a lot of things that I've created in the past for different reasons. I wasn't.
Nobody's Tim.
Yeah.
Even Tim
nobody's
is not
Tim.
fit. Even Tim is not Tim.
Yeah, Tim's not. So there's tons of stuff on here. I think very rarely do I post anymore, but I've had teachers, actually this one, I had a statistics teacher ask me to create this. So because I really like doing stuff like this, if you were to ask me, I probably would create something for you. This one is shuffle and draw a card. She said she wanted 5 cards available, 3 kings and 2 aces, and then it randomly draws 2. So I had that I made for her, and then they could reset it, and it tells you what it has. So I made it random 2 ace cards and random 3 king cards, and that are in a deck. I sure can. So, well, if you have this document here, so I'll link this document, and then that actually has all my contact information. I'm gonna start looking at the questions because.
Thank you so much, Samantha. This is so wonderful. You are sharing with us all your knowledge, so you can check the questions in Q&A. Sometimes are very specific, so sometimes you have to answer just here. Thank you very much for sharing with us. There are contact informations. We'll be posting them also on our conference web page. I am just copying that. Are there any questions, Samantha, from Q&A? Can you check if there's anything you think everybody